Welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. We're going to get right on into our program today. I hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you are doing well. All right. We're going to get right on into our program today. Last week, we were talking about keeping it hot in your marriage. We're going to kind of continue on that subject today because there's so many married couples that are going through things where they lose the flame in their marriage and they lose interest in each other and kind of drift apart. And that can lead to more serious things. So we're going to make sure that we are continue talking on that subject on today. First and foremost, in order for you to keep the interest in your marriage, first and foremost, you must keep God in your marriage, or keep the Lord in your marriage. And make sure you are attending church together, first of all. And if you're having some kind of problems from your past, or some things that hindered you from your past, that keep you from being closer to your husband, we will always say on this program, make sure you get some sort of help. Make sure you see a marriage counselor, either by yourself or with the both of you together. You can have counseling sessions to figure out the nature of the things that are hindering your marriage, especially if you are still in love with your husband. You want the relationship to grow. Make sure that we are growing together by doing things together and keeping that flame alive in your marriage, because there's so many different distractions nowadays. If you think about it, there's many different distractions, much more distractions that your parents might have had, years ago. They, first of all, they didn't have social media. They didn't have Twitter. They didn't have Facebook accounts. They didn't have anything like that. When you were coming up as a child, you didn't have cell phones. You didn't have social media. And now you have all these different distractions that are going on in the world today. So we have to make sure that we are keeping in touch with each other, or keeping in tune with each other, in order to keep the flame in the marriage. Now, here's some things here that you can do to keep the spark in the marriage. First of all, there's a lot of like we talked about before, there's a lot of distractions. Okay, and we talked about the cell phones. One of the things on here list, put your cell phone down. All right, so many maybe this is one little click. You've been told to put your cell phone away by many different times. When you in church, they tell you to put your cell phones away. In your marriage, sometimes you have to put your cell phones away. I notice sometimes my wife, when she's on the phone, when I enter in the bedroom because usually I'm up later than I'm the last one to go to bed. I make sure the doors are locked. I make sure the alarm is set. And sometimes I even go out and check around the surroundings sometimes, especially if I have to take garbage out. I'll check around the surroundings and everything, and make sure all the alarms are on the cars. Make sure they're all locked, and make sure all the doors and windows and all those things are checked. And I usually make sure the kitchen has been cleaned and all those things like that before I come to bed. And usually if my wife's on the phone when I walk in, she usually will get off and tell a friend she'll talk to her later or something. And that's showing respect to your spouse. And those are some of the things you should be doing, and not always on the cell phones, because they can be distracting, because there's so much information on there. But get some information from your spouse by talking to her. First of all, we have to make sure that we are listening to each other and having eye contact. We talked about that last week. Make sure you're having eye contact with your spouse. Make sure that you are involved in everything, that you both are involved in different things together. Sometimes you can do things apart, but make sure you have things that you do together, maybe hobbies, or maybe things that you might do, date night. And for those married couples, make sure you go to, if your spouse goes to church, make sure you go to church with her. Even if you don't go all the time, make sure you go. Pick a Sunday that you're going to always go with her, and be consistent and go that, even if it's just one Sunday a month, but make sure you're consistent and go that one Sunday with her every month. And that way she'll know that this is the Sunday you're going to be going with her. And, if you don't, because some husbands, they find other things to do other than, going to church with their spouse. They might not be active in the church. They might not be involved in anything in the church. And make sure if you don't go, make sure you at least go, especially if you know that she goes every Sunday. Make sure you go with her at least one Sunday a month to start out with. And who knows, you might like it and decide to go with her more than one Sunday a month. Because that's, especially if you're a busy couple, that's one of the ways that you can be a treat to your wife, or treat your wife or to dinner, the whole family. Matter of fact, you could always make that a family outing on Sunday. Because most churches, they get out there reasonable, and they're family orientated. There are churches that are family orientated. They usually try to get out at a decent time so you can spend that time with your family. And when you get out of church, that could be your family day. If you don't have any children, that could be your date. The day that you take your wife out to dinner, so she wouldn't have to do any cooking or anything. That you can take advantage of that and use that time as date time. Or you can use that time to, as a family, visit the grandmother, visit the relatives, or even the ones that are in a hospital or something. You can go visit them on that day as a family. But you would have to, again, pick one Sunday that you're going to go to church with her. If you don't want to go every Sunday, because you can't make people go to church. You need to go to church, you devil. No. Allow them to pick a Sunday, and then they'll go with you. And, and that way the family will have time to spend with each other. All right. Here's another one here. Making eye contact. Make sure when you're talking to your wife, you're making eye contact, letting her know that you're listening to what she is talking about. And we talked about last week. Don't be trying to talk to nobody about nothing serious, and you just got out to. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Don't be trying to talk about nothing serious. And another thing that we kind of touched on this subject, but we're going to talk about it a little more on today. One of the things to make sure that you keep the flame in the marriage is or the spark in the marriage, or keep it hot in the marriage, is to make sure there is intimacy in the marriage. You can only have a headache so many times. Don't be telling your husband, I got a headache. And don't be telling your wife, I got a headache. I'm just so tired, baby. I'm tired. No. Spend some quality time with your wife. And it doesn't necessarily, we have always said it on this program, just because you're having intimacy or you're having an intimate moment does not always mean that it's sexual. It could just be you're holding each other, you're listening to each other, you're caressing each other, you're giving each other a massage. That's all part of intimacy, not just sex all the time. But that's a good part of it, a major part of it. So make sure that is included in there sometimes, or when it's needed, because we have to stay close to each other in order for the marriage to continue and be a successful marriage. You have to make sure that you are close, to make sure you're holding hands sometimes, and have fun with each other. There's nothing wrong with having fun with each other. A lot of people think because I'm a married couple, we saved and we love the Lord. That too, but that means that should even mean the more that you're going to have fun with each other and enjoying each other's company. Make sure you are enjoying each other's company as a married couple. Let me set this thing. I always forget to set my timer here. Here we go. There you go. Make sure we enjoy it. Here, let's go over a couple more here. Start a conversation with your wife. It could be about anything. Sometimes you can talk about. That's why it's important. We've always talked about, make sure you take your wife somewhere. Make sure you go on trips. Make sure you're enjoying each other, because That's an easy way to start a conversation. You can talk about the trips that you went on, how much fun you had. You're looking forward to going on another one. And you could even start a conversation by planning a future trip. You could sit down and go over the brochures. There's so many things you can do to plan a trip. You could actually pull up videos on YouTube showing the details about the destination that you're going to. That's how we found out about a lot of things in Orlando that we had didn't know about. We had went to them, but we didn't go into them in detail. And we pulled it up on YouTube. It showed all the other things that were involved in it. We had no idea, and it was really nice. So make sure that that's another way to start a conversation when you're planning something together, and even when you're just planning, talking about your dreams that you have together as a couple, your goals in life. If you plan on owning a home sometime, or you plan on relocating, those are things that you talk about and you discuss, because you don't want to make decisions on your own. You should be making decisions as a couple, because when you're married, you become a team, and you have to work together as a team. It's no I, it's us. It's no I, no you. It is us. It's not mine, it's not yours, but it's ours. And those are the things we have to remember as a married couple. And it's easy to forget about them, especially with the liberation involved in female liberation and things like that. I got my own, I don't need you. It's not that you need somebody, it's that you work together as a team. Just like when the Bulls were winning those games with Michael Jordan, he couldn't have did it by himself. That's why they put people around him so he could be a winner. And that's how it is in a marriage. You are put together to be a winning team. So you have to make sure that we are working together as a married couple. And when you're having your intimate moments, make sure you're looking each other in the eyes. Make sure you're caressing, and thinking of your spouse. Don't always be selfish when you're intimate. Yeah, you ain't do nothing, and I was ready. If you have to, plan it. Just plan it. Give hints during the daytime. If you want to have a special night, give hints. Bring home some flowers or something, or have a lot of compliments leading up to that moment, whispering in her ear, touching her, things like that leading up to that moment. Don't just think you just going and then make sure because you have a lot of times you hear women say, oh, you don't hold me like you used to. Are you looking like you want to be held? You have to think of it that way. Then you have to think of the time that he did hold you. What were you doing? What were you wearing? What did you have on? Did you have a special kind of cologne on? Was it when you had just got your hair done? Or no, did you have a new outfit? So you have to think of those things. You don't expect someone to hold you all the time if you don't look like you want to be held. Especially if you come to bed with an old what do you call those gowns, of old flannel gowns on. Hey, when you come to bed with something like that on, you look like you just want to go to sleep. You come to bed with one of them plastic bags on your head, and big old rollers and stuff. That's not saying I want to be held. That's just saying I'm tired. I need to get some rest. That's all that's saying. And same thing with the fellas. You don't come to bed all sweaty and musty. You have to make sure you shower, put on some cologne, smell good. If you don't have no cologne, put on some of that body lotion or body sprays or something. To make sure that you're looking, setting the mood, setting the moment. Make sure you're setting the moment to be romanced. Romance it's a gradual thing. It just don't happen just like that. And we all know that, because when you before you got married, you were real thoughtful, and you was considerate. You always thought of things that your wife might like. You would bring home different things, and you would take her different things, different places, and you were showing yourself as being a romantic person. And hear a lot of people say, hey, life ain't like them movies. Come on, that's just an excuse so you won't have to be romantic. If she's one of those people that like to think life is, humor her. Be romantic. Come in and pretend you somebody else, and just twirl around in the room, twirl around. So, hello, darling, I'm home. Be real romantic with her, and don't come in, yeah, I'm tired, baby. I've been working all day, and what you want me to do? Or I got a headache, and you every time I come in the room, no, you have to spend time with each other. You have to learn how to, and if you want, ladies, if you want to be romanced, look like you want to be romanced. Even if you have to put on makeup like as if you're going out just to go to bed, make sure you do so. And if you if you wear those wigs, make sure you put on the best one you got, and make sure it ain't crooked. Make sure you put that wig on. And, put on those nice lingerie things, and look like you want to be romanced. And don't use that. And fellas, stop using the excuse. Oh, life ain't like the movies. That's a Lifetime movie. Well, make it a Lifetime movie. If you can't figure it out, figure it out. And fellas, make sure that you come to bed. If you are rough, make sure you shave, and make sure you presenting yourself, being prepared to be romantic. And that's a lot of things in a Christian community, a lot of things that they don't want to talk about. But we need to talk about it. You have so many women that are going the opposite direction because they weren't treated properly. Sometimes they even been mistreated while in the church. So you have to make sure that we are treating our women. This is to the fellas. Make sure we are treating our women folks with utmost respect, and especially your wife. Make sure, man, you are just loving on your wife. Make sure you tell her you love her so much that I know you love me. I know you love me. Make sure she get tired of you saying that, and not just say it. Make sure you show it. Make sure you do things for her that she don't have to. Oh, you didn't have to do that for me. Make sure you do those things for her. Surprise her sometimes. There's nothing wrong with surprising your wife. And you'll be surprised how well your quality time will turn out when you surprise your wife. And go be above and beyond when it comes to your spouse. So we have to make sure that we are loving on our spouse. Make sure they walk around with a smile on their face every day, because they know that they are going to come home, or they know that they have a husband at home that loves them. Don't never let them think that you're taking them for granted, all the things that they do around there, because trust me, households cannot run without a wife in it. It just cannot run. You can run it, but it's not going to be run well. When you have a spouse in the household, especially if you don't have one of them lazy spouses, and stop being lazy. You have so many women that are so lazy. They can't spend quality time with their husband because they're lazy. They don't want to get up and do anything different because they're lazy. And the same thing with the fellas. Don't do nothing around the house and expect to have a romantic. You left the pipes leaking, the toilet you flush and it's still running. How's somebody gonna have a romantic evening when all you hear is the toilet running? That don't even sound right. Make sure you fix some things. If you don't know how to fix it, find somebody to fix it. Stop being cheap. Well, I can fix that myself, and it's broke and half done, Make sure that we are doing those things to keep the spark in the marriage. And again, sex is not the only thing, but it is a major part of it. So make sure we are spending that quality time with each other. And when you're spending that quality time with their marriage, you can have a successful marriage. Make sure you are loving on your wife. Make sure you are romancing your wife. Oh, I ain't that type. You figure it out. You can figure it out. You did before you got married. You used to act like you were Billy D. Williams or somebody. You thought you were real cool. You were real smooth. You used to say smooth things to, hey, baby, how you doing? You call on the phone. She'd be like, who is this? Because you change your voice on the phone. Hey, baby, it's me. Yeah, it's Big Daddy. Yeah, don't stop being romantic, fellas. Just because you saved and sanctified, that's when you should be even the more romantic. Say, oh, my man is saved and sanctified and romantic. Make sure that we are loving on each other and holding that. Make sure you hold your wife as many times as she wants to. Make sure she feels safe in your arms. Just like we feel safe in the arms of Christ, make sure your wife feels safe in your arms. This is Pastor Larry. Until we meet again, I'm going to be signing off with Keep It Hot in Your Marriage. Until we meet again, this is Pastor Larry with Let's Talk Marriage. All righty.